class. This is Sheila, your computer application teacher. In last class, we saw what is e-commerce, what is e-business, and how the e-commerce came into existence, the growth of your e-commerce. All this we saw in our previous class. Today, let us see the development and growth of electronic commerce. The Economist describes four different phases in the Industrial Revolution. They refer each and everything with a wave. Yes. The first wave of electronic commerce was from 1995 to 2003. Dot-com companies of first wave were mostly American companies. Yes. Thereby, their websites were only in English. So, dot-com bubble had attracted huge investments to the first wave companies. As the internet was mere read-only web and the network technology was in the beginning stage, the bandwidth and the network security was very, very low. Only EDI and unstructured email remained as a mode of information exchange between the business. But the first wave companies enjoyed the first move advantage and customers had left with no options. See, America only started their first online businesses. Yes, so what happened is, since it is America, it is not Tamil Nadu, right, to speak in Tamil, to write in Tamil. Since it is US, they started to make everything in English. So what happened is, only people who are who is knowing English, who is using that that website will come to know things. So what happened is, they alone were using that trading. Yes, as and your internet was also not established so high. It was the beginning stage of your internet. The bandwidth was also very, very low. So what happened? The business was within the in a form of email. Yes, it is not going to be in a form of letter. It was turned up into a form of email. So what happened is, the first move was actually enjoyed by few companies. Yes, and the customer had no options. Your second wave. Your second wave is the rebirth of e-commerce after the dot-com burst. The second wave is the rebirth of e-commerce after the dot-com burst. The second wave is considered as global wave, with sellers doing business in many countries and in many languages. Second wave, what is second wave? It is the rebirth of e-commerce after the dot-com burst. Second wave was considered as global wave. How it is actually considered as? Second wave was actually considered as global wave, with sellers doing business in many countries and many languages. Yes, language transaction and currency conversion were focused in second wave websites. The second wave companies used their own internal funds and gradually expanded their e-commerce opportunities. As a result, e-commerce grows more steadily, though more slowly. The rapid development of network technologies and interactive web offered the consumers more choices of buying. The increased web users nourished e-commerce companies during the second wave. See, in the second wave, what happened is, there was a dot-com burst. What happened? Second wave has become a global wave. It has become universal. How? It is because many countries started doing their business and they started doing it in many languages. Yes, language transaction, currency conversion, because in every country, US it is dollars. Yes, in India it is rupees. Like that, what happened is, each and every country has their own money format, isn't it? So what happened is, language transaction, currency conversion were focused in the second wave websites. And what happened is, the company started using their own funds and they started to extend their e-commerce opportunities. As well as a result, what happened? E-commerce started to grow steadily and slowly. Yes, and even the customers were left with many options. There is no necessity they'll have only one. They'll have multiple choices now, and they can go for options to get their things. Yes, What about third wave? Third wave was brought on a mobile phone technologies, and we knew it, right? Now what happens? Now we are able to buy anything and everything over our mobile devices itself, isn't it? For real-time and on-demand transactions, mobile technologies, it connects user via mobile devices for real-time and on-demand transactions. Not only the form information is filtered by time, but also the geographic conditions are used to screen the specific location, tailored information properly. The term Web 3.0 summarizes the various characteristics of the future internet, which include artificial intelligence, semantic web, generic database. In your third phase, what happened is we started to do the business in using our mobile phone technologies itself. So what happened is we were able to make transactions very easily. It connects the users. You can connect the users via mobile devices itself. Yes, not only the information is filtered. See, if I wanted anything, I can even when you get into a business, what is it, application app, right? Amazon, even you can go for choices. Dresses below 1,000, dresses below 100. All that. What happens? We are filtering the constraints that we need, and we can also do it like this. Yes, consider your Zomato. If in case if I wanted to get some food, I can make it within the area, isn't it? I need not go very far distance. Even that geographical location is actually being made in your third wave. Fine. Now let us move on with classification of e-commerce business. Business organizations, consumers, and government, which is also called as administrators, are the major parties in e-commerce. Who are the three parties who is involved in e-commerce? Business organizations, consumers, we, the people who get, and the government. Sometimes employees also indulge in the system. E-commerce has been classified into following, like what? Business to business, business to consumer, business to government, consumer to this B2B and all, right? B2B, business to business, consumer to consumer means it will come here. Business to consumer, business to government, consumer to business, consumer to consumer, consumer to government, government to business, government to consumer, government to government. These are the business models available. What is B2B now? B2B means the transaction will be between the one business organization to the another business organization. Let us consider a car. When you manufacture a car, it is not that every part will be available within you itself, isn't it? For a tire, you need to get into MRF or some other tire factory. Here's tire industry. So the transaction goes from one business to the other. For example, a cycle company. Many tires from many other company for their cycles, isn't it? And what is outsourcing? You see, you will be here, but you will recruit people for your work from other places. Yes, for your work, you will have people to work for you. A part of it alone will be done by other people. They will be supporting your organization. That is termed as outsourcing. And offshoring. Offshoring is what is it? From here, I will be connecting to some other place. Yes, some other company are generally associated with B2B e-commerce. If a company is hired to another company, it is called as outsourcing. I told you, right? For a company work, for tire alone, we are going for another company. That is outsourcing. What is offshoring? If a work is outsourced to a company with this outside its own country, it is termed as offshoring. We are here and to some other place we are giving a work. Yes, it is termed as offshoring. What is business to consumer? The e-commerce is between business and consumers. It is a direct trade between companies and end consumers via internet. B2C companies sell products, information or services to customers through online in a more personalized dynamic environment and is considered as real competitors for a traditional storekeeper. As an example of B2C transaction is a book company selling books to the customers. This mode is intended to benefit the customer and can say B2C. E-commerce works as retail store over internet. See, in your business to consumer, I already told you the business is going to take place between the business empires and the consumers directly. You are not going to have any mid parties here. So what is the benefit of not having any mid parties? And if you are going to make a transaction straight away, you will not have any additional cost to be added to the material. You can make a direct transaction, isn't it? Next, B to government, business to government. What is business to government? The business people, the business organization will sell the products, services and information to the government or its administration. Say for example, you would have got long ago you would have got TV, you would have got mixie and all, isn't it? Government cannot supply you straight away, isn't it? It has to go to some organization who makes a very less quotation. From them they will give the order and they will manufacture it and they will give it to the government, isn't it? That is what is actually termed as business to government. Next, what? Consumer to business. What is our part to the business now? See, the consumers will fix a set of requirements or specific price for a service or commodity. So C2B model is also called as reverse auction model. Here consumer bids his price for a service or a product. Now what happens is consumer to businesses, for his product we will be setting a amount. Yes, like an auction, this will be this much only, you can give this only for this cost. Yes, that's just like that. The e-commerce business entity will match the requirement of the consumers to the best possible extent. For instance, a travel website, a consumer may specify his date of travel, his source, destination, number of tickets, and the range of hotel, etc. The website then finds the various options for him which best meets his requirement. Now, who is consumer now? He wants to travel to some place. He needs a ticket now for a source to destination. As well, he will have a budget. Within that budget, he want a hotel to stay as well, isn't it? So all these are the requirements of the consumer, which is actually trying to be filled by the business, isn't it? So there are so many websites, isn't it, which actually satisfies all this. Trivedi and all is there, isn't it? I'm not sure of the websites. You could have seen so many websites which actually supports all these requirements of the customer. Next, consumer to consumer, trading between one consumer to the other using internet. Here the websites acts as a platform to facilitate the transaction. The electronic tools and internet infrastructures are employed to support transactions between individuals. Typically, this type of e-commerce works as consumer to business to consumer. It means the consumer would contract a business in search for a suitable customer. Most of the auction websites and matrimonial websites are working on this methodology. Now, say for example, we are looking for a bride, right? In your family, your brother will be there, who's senior most. He will be, they'll be seeking a good women for a bride, isn't it? So what happens? For that, you will not go straight away in search of it. You will get into some business, and that people will get into another people. So those people are also consumers now. They are also in need, isn't it? So that such methodology is actually found in auction websites and matrimonial websites. For example, a consumer who wants to sell his property can post an advertisement on the website. Yes. So now what happens? People who are actually interested will go in person and they will get. So consumer is selling and consumer is actually purchasing. Yes, that is what is termed as what? Consumer to consumer. Now consumer to government. How are we making a business with the government? Yes, here an individual consumer interacts with the government. C2G model usually includes income tax, house tax payments, fees, issuance of certificates or other demands. People paying for renewal of license online may also fall into this category. We pay license, we renew license, we pay income tax, house tax, all this, isn't it? So we are paying to the government. We are making some transaction with the government. That is going to be termed as what? C2G. And what about G2B? Government is giving some order to the making a commerce, making a transaction with the business. G2B is closely related to B2G only, because e-commerce refers to a business model where government providing services or information to business organization. It may be formal offer such as take over a bid for a road project. I already told you know, for this mixie grinder also, when they wanted something to happen, they will get into the quotations, where every organization, every private organizations will come out with certain quotations, and which is actually comfortable, which is actually affordable, government will choose, isn't it? So what this government is actually doing, government is giving a work to the making a transaction with the business organization. Next, G2C, government to consumers. See, it is very similar to your C2G only. It provides a platform for citizens, services, yes, through the internet. Issuance of certificates through online. We can make, government act, through government we can even, nowadays we can get the income tax certificate, death certificate, birth certificate, all this is actually made through the internet itself, isn't it? From where do we get this? From the government to the consumers. What is government to government? Government to government is an online interaction between government organizations or departments. Yes, G2G model in e-commerce involves distributing data or information between agencies and departments. Here what happens is, one government organization talks within the organizations or a part of the organization or other government organizations. Yes, so what happens, they may share information, or they may share data, or they may share something that is actually needed. Internal phasing of or local level joining of single government bureaucracies. External phasing or international level joining of multiple government bureaucracy. E-commerce revenue models. See, apart from selling of commodities, there are many ways by which the companies can make the money from the internet. The other forms of e-commerce activities are, affiliate site is a form of third-party marketing in which the site owner gets paid based on the performance. Yes, creating a web page on the on the usage of it, what happens, on the performance of it, the site owner gets the money. Yes, the affiliate site may be a price comparison service, or a shopping directories, or review sites, or blogs that contain a link or to a normal retailing site and are paid where a customer makes a purchase through it. This affiliate site usually attracts visitors to offer more information and tutorials on specific product or a topic. Say for example, nowadays what happens is, even if you wanted to get a product, you can get into sites, isn't it? One single site will tell you, see, in Amazon this product is this much, the same product in this organization, in this site is this much. So what happens, you can even make comparisons to get a product, isn't it? That said site is also available, which makes the customers buy the same product with a cheaper price. Yes. See, one example is here. See, this is a site, PraiseD. What happens is, here the same Adobe PageMaker MacBook, Apple MacBook is actually compared. Yes, Apple MacBook is actually compared with all other sites, and what happened is, with all other sites, and from that what happened is, we can choose the required product. Auction site is a kind of website where auctions, sometimes what happens is, there will be an auction site where you can also make an auction and you can select certain products. Yes, banner advertisements. Then what happens, bulk buying of sites such as collect a number of users together, or of who you want to buy similar items, same items in different organizations. Yes, digital publishing. These are the sites. We are not talking only about transactions, commodities. We talk about multiple digital publishing sites effectively host 3 book or magazines on the web. Yes, they make profits like advertising, selling, buying, etc. Next, what you have, licensing sites. Then you have name your price. Say for example, if you wanted to make some hotels. I can even I'm just going on a trip, and if I wanted to choose a hotel, I can say my budget. Within that budget, which hotel will be comfortable, that you can make my trip. This is also a site, isn't it? Makemytrip.com. Next, online shopping mall is there. Then we can go for a traditional commerce and e-commerce comparison. E-commerce isn't just commerce anymore. Even though they share primary principle of buying and selling products, goods and services, there is a difference between traditional commerce and e-commerce. Let us see. Traditional commerce is you are going to do it physically, and here you are going to do everything in the internet. Next, what? They can easily identify, authenticate and talk to the merchant. Now here they cannot see the merchant. Yes, physical stores are feasible to open all the time. It is always available on all the time and all the days of the year. 24/7 it is actually open. Which one? Your e-commerce. Products can be inspected physically before purchase. Here it cannot be inspected. You cannot see the product in your own eyes, right? You can simply see that only in the screen. Scope of business is limited. Here it is global. And resource focus is supply side, and here it is demand side. Business relationship is actually going to be sequential, linear, easy. It is actually end-to-end. Marketing, it is one-way marketing. It is one-to-one marketing. Payment is made by cash, check, cards. Here it is actually going to be a credit card or fund transfer. Most of the goods are delivered instantly. Here it takes time to transport the goods. What are the advantages and disadvantages of e-commerce? See, your e-commerce is actually available all the day, 24/7. So now the customers or the suppliers need to wait for a physical store to be opened. Yes, speed is actually a major advantage in your e-commerce. Yes, it allows the message to reach you all around the world. Yes, and the internet is also too easy for you to shop around anywhere, and you can also buy the products with a cheaper cost also, because you will not have any third parties in the between. Next, the whole world becomes a shop for today's consumers. They have a wide variety of choosing by comparing and evaluating the same product, and they can get the products. Customers can shop from home as well. They can do it on their own convenience. They need not take time to dress up. They does not go spend their time traveling and all, isn't it? They can make it easily. What about disadvantages? Disadvantages. It is often, e-commerce is often used to buy the products that are actually not available locally, but business all over the world. Physical goods need to be transported, which takes time and cost money. See, e-commerce, here we doesn't get products from local places alone. We actually make a product to be got from all over the world. So what happens is, when you wanted to get it from some other country, it will take time to reach you. Not only the time, they even spend more money, yes, to make a transaction. But in e-commerce, we should wait between placing the order and having the product in hand. I'll be making an say for example, if I'm just going to make a shopping through your Amazon, and if the product is somewhere, it will tell you, isn't it? It will take time to reach you. It will take 23rd November only you'll be getting, 25th December 5th only you'll be getting. All these are the options that it actually gives you. Sometimes the next day, sometimes 1 week, sometimes 10 days. Yes, till the product reaches you, you have no guarantee that the product will come to you. As well, the product, unlike returning goods to a traditional shop, it is not actually much comfortable in your e-commerce. Yes, as well, a serious issue in your e-commerce is privacy issues. You will not be very sure whether the products, whether the details that I give is going to be personal. Yes, physical products disputes are the major disadvantage of e-commerce. E-commerce purchases are often made on trust. This is because we do not have any physical access to the product. Though the internet is effective channel for visual and auditory information, it does not allow full scope for our senses. Of course, yes, we see a picture, the sari may look very beautiful, the dress may look very beautiful, you will be selecting it because it is actually looking beautiful, but actually not. Sometimes you may even get a damaged product or a dull product or a cheaper product as well. But what do is, we think that it is actually good. Yes, you have certain issues to face also. We couldn't think of ordering a single ice cream or a coffee from a shop in Paris. Those specialized and refrigerated transportation can be used. Say for example, sitting in India, I cannot go for a coffee, I cannot order from here to US, isn't it? That such facility is not available. Delivery ambiguity. Since supplying business can be conducted across the world, it can be uncertain whether they are genuine business or going to take our money. Even this is a problem that we get. Sometimes we pay and sometimes our money goes in vain. We does not get the product. Yes. Benefits of e-commerce to a business organization. Access to a global market. What are the with respect to business organization, what we can say, the whole world is actually getting connected, so you can have your business all over the world. Yes. And lower transaction cost. You will not have any mid parties, so the transaction cost is not going to be too high, isn't it? Even you can make it just like that. As well, 24/7 working. Even sitting at home, you can make a purchase even at the midnight. Next, low cost of entry. Though commerce was emerged in private networks, it did not remain the same. Internet has changed the face of e-commerce. Internet is all about democratization. See, even a small guy can even fight with the business giants in your e-commerce. Yes, computer platform independent. Yes, many computers have the ability to communicate via internet. So consumers need not have to upgrade their network. Yes. Snapping middlemen. No middlemen in the middle. You can make the business to the consumers straight away. What about the limitations of e-commerce? People won't buy all the products online. There are certain products like jewels, your wedding purchases and all. We never do it in online, isn't it? And next, some CD softwares which is actually highly which is very costly or which is highly confidential. You cannot buy those in the online. Competition and corporate vulnerability. What happens as the organization starts to increase, competition also will start to increase. So competitors, you have to compete with so many people. Yes, that is actually a tedious job. As well, security, you cannot be very sure with the security, because if a credit card detail is going to go out, that's it. Yeah, finished, isn't it? And in case if we know the details are lost, it is okay. If he doesn't know, what happens? All our money will go in vain. Customer loyalty. Business cannot survive without a proper loyal customers. Yes, some people get the products, does not pay. Some people pay and they does not receive the products. All these are the problems that we come across. Shortage of skilled employees. Though the process of e-commerce is automated, some sectors like packing and delivery needs manual interventions. Yes. Yes, children, with this, your e-commerce lesson just gets over. I believe there is only 2 more lessons to finish the whole book. Keep studying. Write your 2 marks, 3 marks alone in your classwork note. Submit it on Wednesday, Budhar. Thank you, children.